The Pulse School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Saskatchewan Pulse Growers and BASF.
Bob Connor, pulse crop pathologist with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada here in Morden, joins us on Real Agriculture. And Bob, we've of course seen extensive root rot affecting pulses in Western Canada this year. There's some research for many years happening on Aphanomyces here in Morden. What are you looking at here?
Yes, we were fortunate we had a site established here over 20 years ago for research on Aphanomyces root rot, and it's quite a uniform site. One of the big problems with working on root diseases is that the diseases often are very patchy in distribution. So, but that doesn't seem to be the case with the site we have, and we've had it in peas for the last 20 years. And we've been using it for studies to look at identify pea breeding lines that carry either tolerance or resistance to that particular disease. We also have set up studies here where we've compared yield between the disease nursery and a site where the disease doesn't occur, which often usually only maybe 100 meters apart. And we can see that Aphanomyces has a big impact on yield in susceptible varieties, and yet some of our tolerant varieties, they do have a slightly reduced yield, but it's not to the same extent. And we think that some of these new sources of resistance, if they can be incorporated into a high-yielding field pea variety, could really reduce the importance of Aphanomyces root rot. It probably won't replace the need to rotate crops and take precautions to limit the severity of the disease, but I think as part of a intensive crop or pest management program, I think it would be a very important component.
So somebody who has a severe level of it, how much could genetics counter that infection?
There are several different races of that particular fungus, and there are also a number of different genes that have been identified, and there's been a lot of research in France to control this disease, and I think the prospects here are pretty good because we have access to that genetic material, and the breeders are using it to transfer resistance in. So hopefully they can get resistance from a number of different sources, and maybe even combine resistance. And with some of the molecular work we're doing with some cooperating scientists in Edmonton, we think that will make it much easier for breeders to incorporate resistance into in a high-yielding background, and so hopefully we'll speed up the process.
So you have high hopes then that there's potential to improve the genetic resistance to it? Okay.
We have found good resistance to all of the root pathogens that are a common problem in field peas. So, and we've made that material available to breeding programs in Western Canada, not just in Agriculture Canada, but also with the universities and anywhere else where there's an interest.
Where are we at in that timeline then of bringing those better genetics to the market?
That's harder to say. I think it's still probably a few years away, but I know there's a big program going on at the Crop Development Center at the University of Saskatchewan, and so that may be where we see the first varieties coming out of there. So.
All right.